What to get your kid for Christmas? And we'll be talking about classic comic books and newspaper comic strip reprints, stuff that represents the best of the medium and would really be worthwhile and enjoyable sharing with your kids. Now, I'm making this video just before Christmas of 2012, so if you're watching this in a future year, most of these books should still be available, and it's likely be additional volumes of many of them around. So if civilization hasn't been destroyed by an invasion of the mole people, these recommendations are still good. Now, Little Nemo in Slumberland was created in 1905 by Winsor McCay. After over a century, it's still the most beautifully illustrated comic strip of all time. The strip takes us into the dreams of a young boy and the bizarre adventures and travels that he has while dreaming. The strip literally drips with imagination, and many of the images can take your breath away. It's good for kids of all ages. Now, if there's this comic strip that would give Little Nemo a run for the most beautifully illustrated comic of all time, it would be Hal Foster's Prince Valiant. In addition to wonderful art, we also have great characters and well-told adventure stories. As of the end of 2012, there's 5 volumes of this available. Any of the volumes are worth having, but the strip is at its most fun if you start at the beginning. Good for kids 10 years old and older. Now, Captain Easy was created by Roy Crane, who was the first artist to do a newspaper strip that emphasized adventure over humor. Crane's cartoony art style, though, allowed for an actual perfect combination of adventure and humor. Captain Easy is a unique strip that you'll really enjoy sharing with your kids. Next is the original comic strip police procedural, Dick Tracy. Any of the volumes reprinting stories from the 1940s and 50s when the strip was at its best are fine to start with. Tracy had bizarre villains and lots of cliffhanger moments in the form of chases, gunfights, and death traps. Now, if I were to give my choice of the best adventure strip ever, it would be Terry and the Pirates. Great story, solid plots, and a wonderful set of characters, both main characters and reoccurring supporting characters that you really grow to care about. The entire run by the strip's creator, Milt Caniff, is available in 6 volumes. As with Prince Valiant, it's most fun if you start right at the beginning with this one. Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim, both drawn by artist Alex Raymond in the 1930s and 1940s, are being reprinted in beautifully designed, oversized volumes. Flash gives us imaginative science fiction adventure, while Jungle Jim features Tarzan-style adventures. This is good for kids 10 years old and up. Now, Turok, Son of Stone was a comic book printed in the 1950s and in the early 1970s. Modern remakes of the character have usually involved excessive and graphic violence, but the original comic book had imaginative adventure stories that are completely appropriate for children and have the world's coolest premise. 2 American Indians get trapped in a valley populated by dinosaurs. Now, I believe the absolute most fun stories are in Volume 1, Volume 8, and Volume 10 of the current reprint series. But they don't need to be read in any order. All of them are good, and any volume is a good starting point for your kids. During the 1930s, Mickey Mouse was actually an action-adventure guy. Artist Floyd Gottfredson managed to combine the concept of funny animal stories and slapstick humor with the conceits of adventure storytelling. He combined humor with a real sense of danger and great fight scenes. During the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, artist Carl Barks managed to accomplish the same thing, combining humor with real adventure in Donald Duck comic books. He also created the character of Uncle Scrooge, Donald's rich uncle, to do more of the same. Barks was one of the best artists and writers in the history of the comics medium, and no kid should grow up without experiencing his work. And finally, we have Peanuts, the hilarious and sometimes heartbreaking greatest comic strip of all time. As of the end of 2012, there's 30 years of the strip have been reprinted, with plans to have the entire 50-year run eventually come out. In my subjective opinion, the strip was at its absolute best from the late 1950s through the 1960s. So any volume covering those years would be a great place to start. This is absolutely required for kids of all ages. Now that's it for comics. If you're thinking of getting DVDs as presents for your kids and you're willing to drop 99 cents for a Kindle or Nook book, please check out my book, 99 Films and Cartoons Your Children Must See Before Growing Up or They'll Turn Out to Be Axe Murderers. I believe it's essential reading.